Hi, my name is Dana Harris-Seeger. Welcome to my studio at Visual Philosophy. Today I want to talk about framing artwork and or mounting, finishing artwork, and how I like to do that for a variety of types of two-dimensional artwork. So we'll start with encaustic paintings because I do a lot of these. This is a relatively small size, 12 by 12, and you can see that the surface is encaustic with collage and mixed media. And then the sides, I actually haven't framed it. It comes, the boards, the cradled panels actually come mounted. You can see in the back that there's the panel that's solid, and then it's mounted to the frame. And so I can just paint the sides of the frame, the box, and that's sometimes all I'll do. Especially if I don't have a lot of wax dripping off the side, and it looks nice and finished. It's flush along the edge. It does have the it does make it a little bit more sensitive because these edges are exposed, and so with encaustic you could chip those edges off on accident. But this is definitely the quickest way that you can finish your encaustic paintings. My preferred method is to use a frame, and this is called a float frame because the painting, you can use canvas, you can do this with a canvas painting as well. It's kind of floating, looks like it's floating inside the frame. And the frame is sort of like an L shape, and so the panel like this just fits inside of it. You have to get the size that's specific to your painting size because it fits very snugly like that. I've made my own especially for the large paintings. I have to make my own. This one was store-bought, but I think it gives a nice finished look. Obviously it frames it, but it also kind of helps to protect those sensitive edges. So this is an option too, the float frame. When I have just pieces of paper, like this painting and collage, often what I'll do is, oops, it's upside down. Often what I'll do is mount it. So I've attached it with little mounting dots or mounting squares, and I float it, again, there's that word again, float it onto a mat board, and the mat board here is just a stiff kind of cardboard, and it's archival, meaning that it's acid free, so it's not going to discolor or degrade the paper, the artwork that's mounted on top of it. And then this acid-free plastic is also a great protector if you want to store them flat, keeps them from bending. They're easy to ship. This is a really good way to store them in bulk. And then if I wanted to frame those pieces of paper, because it's already mounted to the mat, you can see this is floated onto the mat, and then it's just put behind glass in a ready-made picture frame. And because I've already done this and gotten them all set up mounted on a ready-made size, which I think this is 11 by 14, 9 by 12, 8 by 10, those are all ready-made sizes. It's really easy to just pop it in a frame or have somebody else who buys the piece pop it in a ready-made frame. Makes it sort of easy to finish that way. I don't like to mat over the image because a lot of my artwork does extend to the edge, and you can see here I've got my signature all the way at the bottom. That kind of tells people who buy this that I intentionally wanted to have that edge showing. So when you put a matte window around something like that, where you have the cutout, then you're hiding part of the image, and I don't really like to do that. So I just mount them onto the board itself. Float it on there, it's called. And you can choose to take it off the mat, or just frame it so that you have all of the edges right up against the frame instead of floating it on this mat. But I like to give it a little bit of breathing room with the mat, keep it a neutral color. That way it kind of gives the painting its own special space. So those are just some of the ways that I mount and frame two-dimensional artworks. Like I said, you can use the kind of float frame with a canvas too, which is nice because just like the floating mat, you're not disrupting any of those edges. So I hope that helps. Happy framing!